Hello once again, everyone. Welcome back to the Rayjet Laser Challenge and this white void behind me that I will replace very soon. Just wanted to say once again, hello. Whether you're watching this on YouTube online or you're watching it live with us now, we're so happy you could be here. I'm very happy that you took an hour out of your Friday to join us. Please say hello in the chat if you're watching live. Let us know where you're watching from. We are very happy to have you here. Speaking of, very happy to have you here. I am joined by some fantastic guests. I was joined by Thomas, but now, for dramatic effect, he stepped away. If you guys are watching our Galvo stream last week, you will recognize Tim just over here. Hey, Tim, what's up, man? How are you?
It's going well. Excited.
Yeah, I'm excited too. This is Tim's first Rayjet challenge. We have some surprise guests over Tim's shoulder. You'll also see. We might have to pay them an appearance fee. I'm not. Thank you, Tim. So, for anybody who isn't aware, Miguel has moved to a role principally in sales. So Tim has taken over most of Miguel's kind of active role as our applications engineer / kind of everything software design expert.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes, Miguel says hi, everyone. Thank you, Lev. We've got producer Lev, as always, in the back. So Tim, you're just kind of clearing your first couple months at Trotec. What's the vibe so far?
So far, so good. 3 months in. We're just chilling. We're relaxing. We're having a good time.
Welcome.
I gotta say,
Thank you.
If you guys haven't seen Tim in action before, I urge you, after the stream is over, go check out the Galvo stream he did for us last week.
100%.
Absolutely crushed it. Yep. Feel free to pepper Tim with the same questions you would ask Miguel, of course. I have heard from Miguel that he actually feels that Tim is probably actually better at this job than he was, particularly when he started. Don't hold back. Tim's got you covered. That's true, too. That's true, by the way. Yeah. And I'll say it because he's not here to get mad at me for saying it. Of course, we're also joined by regulars of the Rayjet Challenge, Amy and Thomas. Amy, how are you?
I'm doing fine, thank you.
Awesome. Very good.
Been super busy lately.
Really?
Yeah,
that's good.
Been doing loads of work over here.
Awesome.
Just so excited just to get back into the challenge.
Us as well. We have to get these streams back on a regular schedule. You guys, we have so much changing at Trotec right now. I want to know though, so what have you been working with principally? Have you been doing a particular material lately? Have you been doing any sort of particular type of projects lately? Anything you can tell us? Any sort of I don't want to give away any secrets, but
no, I'm totally fine with it. Loads of acrylic work, loads of signing work. Been doing a lot of commissions, mostly art-wise, but it's been lots of different things over here.
Awesome. Oh, I'm very glad. That's awesome. I'm sure Lev will pull it up at some point during the challenge, but if you guys aren't following Amy over on Instagram at Mischief Pop, you can see it right there in her name. You absolutely should be. Not only is she a very talented artist, but she's just an all-around awesome person. The very first Christmas that ever passed after she started doing the laser challenge with us, Amy sent us a whole box of sweets from the UK, and I've never, years down the line, I still have not forgotten how thoughtful and sweet that was for her. Yeah, there it is. Thank you, Lev. Mr. Pop on Instagram. Amy is incredibly talented. You guys should check out her work and definitely get a commission from her.
Yeah, I've just started opening a lot of commissions now.
I was curious, do you have different levels of commissions? Do you do black and white to color to different things, or?
Yeah, it goes from sketch to line art to coloring, all varying in prices.
I gotta say, as somebody who has had their portrait drawn by Amy not once but twice, I will say it's a unique privilege. I would say I would definitely check it out.
Thank you.
Also, certainly last but not least, Thomas, how are you, sir?
I'm very fine. I have to say, I'm really glad to be back with the challenge this month. And as Miguel is not there with us, I decided to match it myself instead. With something I really don't know how it will turns out, but I have to give it a try.
Yeah, Lev has Thomas's Instagram up now. Enchanté, also there in his name. Again, a hugely recommended follow from us. Thomas is absolutely our stand-in Miguel, as much as I don't think there's been a Rayjet challenge that has passed where he hasn't taken on something that is, I mean, pretty considerably ambitious, for better and for worse. I know that if this is your first time watching, maybe I should just throw down the rules here. So we're going to challenge the three of our guests today to use whatever software they like, but they all have a Rayjet or they all have a Trotec laser behind them. They're going to have 60 minutes to put together something that is themed around Mother's Day. Any materials are on the table. Particularly with Tim, we're going to try and stick to something I think that you might see even on, on Etsy, something that you could pick up a Rayjet and resell yourselves. But I'll be interested to see what Tim has in stock for us. This is his first Rayjet challenge. But yeah, if you guys, again, not to double back on myself, but if you guys are interested principally in really, really cool, intricate, beautiful designs, and also just amazing like quality craftsmanship, particularly with wood, I would not hesitate to follow Thomas on Instagram. He's a very talented dude. Sure. I think we are about 8 minutes in, officially 8 past the hour. It's an exciting time to kick things off. Is everybody ready? I will start my little timer here on my side. Shall we get going officially?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
I get the privates here. Thank you for joining us. All right. I am gonna set it off. Let's go. So I think I have, whose screen do I have already up on the screen here? That's Thomas's, I think, maybe.
That's fine.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about, so you sounded like a little bit, I will say, not nervous, but like, you were, you mentioned the Machado yourself.
Basically, you remember last year I did those kind of candle holder.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it's really basic with just 4 sides at 45 degrees insert, and then you put the face on it, etc. So lastly, I did a Japanese lantern, which looked like this. Okay, so same concept.
So cool.
It was inspired by a YouTube video I spotted online. That lantern was just a cross, but I decided to do it with 6 sides. And for the theme of today, we celebrate our mothers this weekend, and I wanted to cross those two together. So putting a roof on this one and make it small holes on the roof so it can hold earrings. So
very cool.
Yeah, so make it a jewel holder, as to speak. And so I took back, I already have my file from the candle holder, and I'm redesigning the stuff I need to add to make it support the jewelry.
Very cool. As someone who went to school to learn to be a copywriter, I could see already the advertising copy about celebrate the mother who put a roof over your head kind of thing with a candle holder that has a roof. I don't know. There's something there. We'll workshop it. We'll workshop it outside of the stream. It'll be strong, I promise. I think it's gonna be a really, really cool design. Are you? So I assume because we're looking at Corel, we might have moved away from Thomas. Thomas, I will say, is going to be illustrator, I assume, for the most part this morning. I don't know. So Amy, as you can see here, we have Amy's work up on the screen right now. Amy is a dedicated Corel, Team Corel gang.
Team Corel all the way.
Do you want to talk to us a little bit about what you have on the go already? So I'm just watching really carefully what you're...
Yeah, so I'm literally starting from scratch. I'll be doing a bookmarker using layers. So there's going to be 3 layers altogether that'll all sit on top of each other. That'll make some artwork. As you can see, I've already started thumbnailing some ideas down. My finest work yet.
I love it.
So I'm just doing the base of the layer to start off with. So this is going to conjoin this together.
This is going to be really cool.
And this is going to be the first layer, so this is what everything's going to be sitting on top of. Turn this into a hairline when I put it out. And I'm going to thread some string through it as well. Yes, I like that idea.
I was going to say, you can always count on Amy for
There we go.
Yeah, Amy. Thank you, Doug. I don't know if you saw that comment pop up, but amateur section.
I didn't know. Thank
Happy
you.
Mother's Day. Thank you, Lorenzo. Happy Mother's Day to all the very, very deserving mothers. Last but certainly not least, I want to pull up Tim's screen.
Of course.
There we go.
All right.
Walk us
Okay,
through.
so-
Man. Okay, I like what I see, but tell me more, please.
All right. So for at least on my end, what I want to showcase was just how easy it is to be able to sit down, find something, and create it. So for sake of everybody out there who's trying to come up with something, trying to come up with a card, little hint, there's a great website called VectEasy, and you can essentially find almost anything that you need to make from scratch to finish right on there. So today I'm going to be showcasing this amazing resource that we have and how I was able to go through from the beginning all the way to the finished product of making a Mother's Day card. So right when I got on there, I simply just searched for a vector border, and to even showcase how simple it was to make this, how great it is to actually go through this, the artist that I found, which found a free license use of this vector, which is amazing. And on top of that, they made this file in such a way that it put really little strain and work on me as a designer as well. So they were able to actually send out the vector. And on top of that, they already had the outline of the vector done, so I didn't have to make an offset path. They had everything already made, quick and easy, so that way I could get out and make this nice Mother's Day card for my mom without having to panic and Machado myself here. So VectEasy is a great resource for every designer, every laser engraver to use. It's free, it's available to use for anybody. Amazing. I absolutely love it. And I'll showcase how I went from step one to finish with you guys as well.
If you wouldn't mind sending one of those my way too, because I'm
Totally
realizing
agree.
as you say that, I could
100%.
also use a Mother's Day card.
100%. Yeah.
Tim's exactly right, too. I don't want to interrupt you, but yes. So that's a very good point, Lev. If you are, if you're, so I'll let Tim explain, but I will just add really quickly. VectEasy, if you guys aren't aware of it, or if you haven't tried it out, I'm with Tim. Like, I couldn't agree more. It is an incredible resource, even in the beginning when you're learning how to build like good, strong vector files. And then also I would say, even if you're looking for inspiration, you might see something on VectEasy that like you then want to tweak or modify, or that inspires something in you. But like, whether you end up pulling a file from VectEasy and using that, or you combine multiple ones, whatever it is, it's an incredible resource. Don't sleep on VectEasy, 100%. Does the Tim, do you have any familiarity with how the process goes for if you want to? Well, I tell you what, I'll let you do your thing because I don't want to step all over.
All right.
You go ahead, please. I will say, everybody's watching. I appreciate the comments. Lev makes a very good point too about buying the license. There are multiple kinds of vectors available on VectEasy. You can get ones that are the free license, as Tim mentioned, where usually I think you would have to credit the artist, if I'm not mistaken, in order to sort of give them that referral business that drive people back to them. But then also there are available vectors that you can purchase just like you would on an iStock photo or anything like that. But I've always felt like the free vectors that are available on VectEasy are of such high quality typically that I've never felt the need to have to actually buy any of them, I'm afraid. I feel bad saying that, but it's absolutely true. Okay. Thomas, we flip back to your screen. I want to say as you can see, Thomas is doing such, but the level of construction that you're currently undergoing is beyond my feeble brain.
Well, in the pillars, in the sides, and this is where I am challenging myself, is as the theme of the piece is Mediterranean. I want to add Mediterranean window inspired from Rome or Venice. This is where you have the stores, you see that? And then in front of it, I want to add a balcony, and on the balcony, I want to add a window on both sides of the pillar, just to add a bit of decoration. So I am thinking in 3 dimensions on a 2D sketch, just to think how I need to plug on both sides to assemble correctly the balcony. I will work with 3mm wood, and then I'm thinking about how to divide this to make sure it sticks together without any glue. Is that clear, Don?
I'm really glad this is a problem that you're solving and not me. I don't know if anyone remembers the days when Miguel would send me files from Brazil, and then I would try and put them together on the show. But I mean, somebody even described how to put together the inlay that they designed over the phone. I discovered was very tricky. So okay, I have Tim's screen back up really quick. Tim, when you said they had the outline already designed, do you mean that? So you had to add the red cut line manually, I assume.
I did not actually. No, that's the simplicity of VectEasy, or how great the artists here at VectEasy are. So this is the border that I found. This is the file that I was able to download. And if I were to actually take this one and just pull it down here, I can see that this file itself, not only did it already come with the actual fancy border outline, but it also came with the actual shape outside the border. So all I really had to do was to remove this border, remove the fill, and just add a stroke line instead. And just like that, I'm able to have a neat outline of this exact border that I placed. So this right here, I'm just going to take this, I'm going to put a red outline on it.
This almost feels like, it sounds so cheesy, but it really almost does feel like cheating. It's like, it makes the whole process so much more intuitive.
In a way it does. So just like that, I've already made my border over here. I just removed the fill, put a stroke line. There is some editing it's not always so easy, but to be fair, this is probably the easiest part of the entire process. These little nodes that are left in the design, just go around the edges and just delete those. And just like that, we'll have a nice clean outline of everything. I did have to isolate this as well, since this is all grouped in. Just double click, it'll isolate it. You'll get a little pop-up in Illustrator notifying you here that everything's isolated. And just go about deleting everything that you don't need.
What would be the... So I remember the first time I pulled up this particular view in Illustrator, I did it by accident.
Right.
I mean, I'm not ashamed to say.
Right.
What would be the purpose of pulling into the particular, basically you're isolating a particular part of your design when you go into that particular mode, right?
Yeah, exactly. So the idea here is that this line had different components all throughout it, which were all grouped. And instead of going into the process of ungrouping and accidentally maybe moving something, you can go within the actual group and change anything that you need within that group setting without adjusting anything else. So when you double click on it, it will isolate to only this line that I just selected. Everything else will become a bit less opaque. And just like that, I'm able to only fiddle around with this group that I have isolated specifically.
Oh,
and
sweet.
The purpose of that was for me to
Tim,
remove... Oh, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
So, yeah, how much time have you saved by doing that then?
Well, it took me roughly about 3 minutes to find the file on VectEasy. It took me about 2 seconds to change the fill to a stroke. So I would say from start to finish, because this artist clearly took a lot of time to make this, it maybe saved me a couple of hours of design work alone. Just to find this,
so
get the free license.
Effective.
Very effective. Because instead of designing this myself for hours, I found it on VectEasy, simply credit the designer that put all the hard work into this. And just like that, I have a card for my mom now.
That's brilliant.
I was going to say, too, as a beautiful, a wonderful, segue here. I really appreciate that, Amy. Thank you. Leva's pulled up some images of, a similar style of, again, a very intricate cut. And Tim has a lot of, things he can do there. He can either, increase the size, he can up the scale of the particular design to create something that's more akin to this. He can descale it down to do a border on the card. He can do a lot of different things, but there's nothing saying you can create something exactly as complex as what we're seeing right now on Etsy that are, I mean, let's say roughly about $10 to $12 per card, roughly. Is that a fair? Seem well, that one's $25. That's a bit more intricate, but yeah, there's $8. I believe what Tim just said was that, I mean, they were a tough 5 minutes, though. Let's not undersell it. That was a very hard 5 minutes worth of work that he put in. He just looked the file very carefully. But, you know, given the speed with which he was able to do that, I'm curious. So, in terms of the size and the material that you've chosen, then, Tim, I think you had some of our laser paper, right? Like, I'm curious about looking at like an ROI now. So, how you sort of put the border together and then.
Okay, all right. So I specifically decided to use our Bristol paper. So I have a sheet that is red right now on my Rayjet, just because I didn't really like the contrast too much on this. So I have this sheet of paper right here. We sell them in packs of 10. So this is great for just making a simple and quick card if you ever need it. It's very, very nice and not pliable. So what you can do is you can engrave neatly on it. You can then put score lines on it so you can have a nice clean bend. And it comes out looking really nicely when you cut it well.
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Lev's gonna. Oh man, I don't know what I would do. You guys don't even need me here. Lev is pulling up the laser paper right there on the website. Tim is exactly right too. So these are designed specifically for. They have a beautiful blend of like a little bit of rigidity, so that you can, as you say, you could score them, create like a nice fold line, but they also look beautiful when you engrave them. I mean, yes, thank you. Okay, that one has the sort of glitter finish. Those ones are new ones. Even I was just for a second, I was like, ooh, what's that? They come in a bunch of different colors, and I know it sounds silly for us to be promoting paper, but when you see what Tim can do with this paper as compared to just any old bristle board, just in terms of like the evenness of engraving, the way that it's going to be able to turn out every single time, I think you will see why they've been sort of specially engineered for laser use.
Yeah, it truly makes the difference between the materials you're going to use in your laser. You're going to feel the quality.
100%. Man, Amy, your check is in the mail. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I thank you, Lev. I appreciate it. I wanted to come back to Amy's design because it looked like you were just about finished the first like couple of layers. I'm glad to know that I'm not the only one who literally notes things in their design software as they're going along, so I can keep track of what it is that I'm.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I recommend if you are going to be using layers, and especially if you're going to be passing them back and forth to a client who's going to be sending you back, make sure you name your bases, especially your layers.
That is okay. So I have to ask you about that. What would be the steps that maybe, if you were going to send, this file to a client, like if you were creating something for a client, what might be the things that you would consider doing in the design to make it more client friendly? Like you're saying, naming the layers, sort of putting identifiers inside the actual file itself so that they know what they're looking at. I mean, what would be the stuff you're thinking that, what's going through your mind to try and say like, oh, I want to make this as easy as possible to understand? Or...
Yeah, I want to be changing, like right click, make sure you change and rename the layers to each like individual part. Is you don't want your client sitting there for hours figuring out, especially if it's an intricate part like something that Thomas and Tim are doing right now, trying to figure out what layer it's sitting on. And adding little details here, it really helps like figure out it. Well, just explaining which part's going to be where on the design. So 100%. This is going to be the base, smaller part, larger part. So
I've had the experience where I've been both the client and the designer. I've been on both sides of that. And it is always, so it's always intimidating if you get a file like this that Thomas is designing right now, which again, I can't take away from it. It does look like it's going to be very beautiful. But I think even Thomas would agree, it's slightly intimidating if you don't know what you're looking at.
Yeah. Can be crazy sometimes with the amount of like layers that go into any design. But it really helps to know what you're looking at.
What I'm doing now is just a nightmare. Sorry to drop by, but this is maybe something you can push on Trotec for the next development on Ruby. Is a nesting application.
Okay.
Because here I'm just trying to place and to optimize and just to maximize the cut time. But nesting, sometimes it's mesmerizing. I spend hours just to optimize each inch of wood. Sorry.
So
go ahead.
Lev beat me to it, but I'm so glad you mentioned it because we've actually mentioned the same thing. Nesting, you can see both Amy and Tim in their designs also having to worry about it, trying to optimize the amount of space, particularly with the Rayjet, right? I mean, like the Rayjet, I've seen Miguel back in the day cut, I think, like a ½ inch or a 3/4 inch acrylic with the Rayjet. I mean, it has the power to do some amazing stuff, despite the fact that it's, technically like our smallest laser. I mean, nice to have kind of on the desktop, right? But at the same time, because you only have that 18 by 12 bed in sort of in Tim and Amy's case, you kind of really do, nesting becomes a really integral part of how you put something together. That's why I was kind of curious. I mean, with Tim, like did you have to modify the laser paper at all to fit it in the Rayjet, or was it good to go straight out of the pack?
It is good to go. It is, I believe, it's not 18 by 12. It is just 17.5 by 11.5. So in the Rayjet 50, it slots neatly in there.
That's so sweet. I'm so used to having to cut down our materials to get them into the Rayjet that I'm so happy to see one that just plops in there really nicely. Johnny, hello, sir. Very glad to have you join us. Thank you. Johnny is with our team in the UK. Johnny is an incredibly talented laser operator himself. If you guys have ever seen Johnny Trotec on Instagram, thank you, Lev. You should definitely check Johnny out. Johnny is super, super talented. He's a very, very busy dude at the moment, I have to say. But one day I am sure we will beg, borrow, or steal whatever is necessary to get him back on the program.
We miss you, Johnny.
We miss you, Johnny. Absolutely. We are very fortunate. I mean, we have a very talented crew. I gotta say, for some reason, so it's nothing bad. I kind of love that it's accidentally happened. The theme of elephants has reoccurred in the Rayjet challenge like a few times. Tim, I have to ask if that was if that was it. Yeah, it's cool because
interesting.
The application was the applications expert from Mexico did a series of elephants. I believe
They did.
Miguel, yeah, they did, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Johnny, a fiber god. There you go, sir. Screenshot that for yourself. Put that on your LinkedIn. But I think the reason it keeps coming back up is because it's so effective. Like, I think the message is conveyed immediately, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. For me at least, it was because I was trying to find something that would represent Mother's Day, and it's very difficult to represent a mother's love for a child through an image. It's very, very complicated. So the best thing to do, I started searching up imagery, and as a designer, I like to communicate in images and visual aspects. And what I found that represents probably one of the best ways that a mother loves her child is through animals. We people, we can represent a mother holding a baby, but there's something different about an elephant holding the tail of its mother. I saw that, and I remember I was trying to find something. I couldn't figure something out, and I saw this really neat vector of, once again, on Beck-Deasy, and I verbally just went, "Oh, that is so cute."
Yep.
And I thought this would be perfect for it, and just threw it in there. And I thought this is going to look so great. There's tons of even real life examples of this too, so I think it's a great way to try to find something cute for my mom. I think it looks great. On not being biased, but looks great.
You're allowed to be biased. I think that looks awesome.
All right.
I was curious too. I mean, I agree with you 100%. I think, to your point too, it reminds me also. Recently I've been getting back into drawing a little bit, trying to draw a little bit more. And I remember some of the things that they would teach us in art school was about like silhouettes of character and sort of like making sure that something is identifiable in sort of the simplest, version of it. And
Right.
I think that not only is this like the emotion is conveyed easily, but then also it's easily readable, right? Like this transcends
Exactly.
language as well as the other thing too. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter, what language the card is in, you see it and you get it like immediately.
Exactly. Yeah. I think representing stuff if you can sit someone down, not say a word, and show them what you're trying to work on, and they understand, I think you nailed it.
100%. Yeah, I couldn't say it better than that. Exactly.
Totally agree.
So I'm curious, Tim, in terms of, so you said you pulled the elephants off Ecstasy. Did you have to modify the style of them at all, or were they in this cool, like, kind of
They
geometric?
were in this type of style. So this type of style is called a one-line drawing, and that is because everything
interesting.
from in this illustration is done with a single line. So it starts from the left or from the right and just continuously goes all in one line. I love one-line drawings because they take the highlights of almost everything and bring them to the surface. So even though I can't tell that the elephant has all these curves and body weight to it, I can see in the image this represents the legs, it represents the outline properly, it even showcases the ears a bit and the tusks. So I love these drawings. I think if an artist does them well, they're communicated so well, they look great.
100%. Lev is actually bringing up. We did a one-line sort of wall art piece. This is going back a little ways now, but you can see exactly what Tim was talking about. They're like a really great one-line drawing. Not only are they artistically beautiful, like they have a really definite, gorgeous style to them, but then also a really good one, as you said, manages to stay simple whilst also conveying like the tones, or pardon me, the tones, like the different what's the word I'm looking for? The different sort of planes of something, or like you said, the weight, the shape of something, despite not having sort of hatching or other typical like artistic methods to fall back on.
Exactly. Our brain sort of fills in these blank spots and communicates to us, this is what's happening here. Because we're all very familiar with faces, we're all extremely familiar with what elephants look like. I mean, I hope so. So our brain fills in those gaps, and all we really need are just the very main highlights of what we're trying to outline. So one-line drawings are very, very great ways to have this really cool and artistic piece. I think they're really, really nice.
They are really, really cool. And from personal experience, I imagine the two of you could probably back me up on this. Much tougher to do than you think. Like looking at them, one of those things that like
totally agree.
I will say we saw, I think it was Lev that you saw doing the hand drawing earlier in this video. I believe, not to dispel the myth, I think he traced that. Otherwise, like Lev, you're missing out on your second calling. Like that would be incredible if you could just rip that out with a Sharpie first try. But Google does wonders. Yes, thank you, sir. So Thomas, if I'm not mistaken, that sounded like maybe you popped your design into the laser.
Yeah. And I just relaunched it the second time because as I merged with the toolpath and a merging tool in Illustrator, sometimes you double the lines.
Yes.
And so I was up for 7 minutes 49 seconds with the first job, but I stopped it. I relaunched it with the option in Ruby that you can't avoid double passes, and so now it's 6 minutes. So I saved 1 minute 49 in motion time just by that option, which is awesome, by the way. Changed my life.
Me too. I recently have been training someone at Trotec, and the first project we did together, we were designing a sign. Popped it in the laser, and it started going over the cut lines twice. And I debated very briefly in my head, she asked me, like, why is it doing that? And of course, the answer is because I forgot to check I forgot to turn the, but, oh no, the laser has a special, it all flashes through your mind, like, oh no, the laser has a special setting that it's just really making sure that it's cut. I had to copy my, facepalm terrible mistake, but, sorry, hold on. Tim?
Yeah.
What did you, sorry, could you do that again? Did you just break up how did you do that? Sorry.
Oh, okay. So what I just did is I added in lines so that I could score it and just have it all bend. So the way I did that is, I'm just going to show an example that's a bit, right here on the side. So I simply just drew a straight line down. And I made sure that it had a stroke line on it, made sure that it's red, and just like that, I now have one little score that's going to be going along the middle of the card. So what I did next, I held Shift and Alt on my keyboard, so this will allow me to copy and paste. The Alt will allow me to copy and paste something over, and the Shift will allow me to keep it either horizontal or vertical without any movement. So, and I'll just take this, grab it, drag it down a bit, and now the system will recognize that I've copied and pasted a line over. So then when I press Shift D, it's going to essentially continue that movement. Here, let me do that one more time. So I'm going to drag that down, and then I'm going to press Shift D, Control D. Oh. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I just did an entire row full of these.
I literally just watched it happen, so I know.
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah, I just did a whole row of these things, and now it doesn't work. Okay, so we're going to drag it down. Press Shift Alt.
That's my bad.
Tim, do you have something that's similar to Corel Draw where you draw a line down, but you can change the line, like the design of the line here in Corel?
There is. So in Illustrator, you can change the style of stroke. So I can change it all. I can make one line a dashed line. But as I found out while making this, there's a bit of a strange thing that will happen in Job Control and Rayjet Manager. It won't see those dashed lines as red cut lines. It will instead see them as just one solid line. It will ignore the color. Since in Illustrator, the command to make a dashed line is since it's not actually a dashed line, it's just a line edited to be a dashed line for the sake of looking like a dashed line. It won't be recognized as a dashed line.
Got it.
So I have to manually make one myself.
Got it. So it doesn't recognize it as a hairline then to cut.
Exactly. Yeah. So so I just place it down. So I press Shift Alt, I dragged it down, and then as I'm pressing Control D, it's copying and pasting them down in one row, all evenly spaced out as well. So I could have all of these score lines placed in my card. So now I don't have to sort of go in and try to fix that back and forth. I have it already done.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing.
Oh,
we do have something similar in Corel. Yeah, but I think the software I'm using is a little bit older than what you're using right now.
Right.
But yeah, you can change the line just like design wise.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so if I want to do that,
I just don't know where's he copy and pasting.
Oh yeah, so I could do that as well. So if I want to place a line down like this,
no way.
I can just press stroke here and make it a dash line as well. But unfortunately, the software just won't see it as a dash line. So that's why I have to do this other method.
Understood.
Yeah.
I was curious because I would be ashamed to admit that I have like dragged out an entire line of those, like Shift Alt, drag them down, then highlight both, then drag them down, and then like go back and try and measure and make sure that they're exactly the same. Control D. What am I doing with my life? I've only so many precious minutes lost. So really quickly, I just want to touch on what you said, Amy, because I think that's a very good point. With the Corel, like the stroke style, for lack of sort of a better term, it will recognize it as like a dash line then in Corel when you send it to the laser. Like it'll see the
it will.
Very cool. Okay. This I feel like is an underexplored aspect of what you can do with a laser. The fact that you can make like essentially like a fold line or like a score line, I guess, seems like it opens up a lot of different aspects too. I mean, if you look at like really what all three of our designers are doing right now, they're all doing something that's basically like three-dimensional. And I think it's sort of when people first get to lasers, they forget that. Because you're working on a two-dimensional plane, it often seems like that's sort of where the limit is, right? But everyone's sort of showing, I think, a little bit differently how you can go about sort of designing in a different way. I think even Thomas was mentioning earlier, he's thinking about his actively in three dimensions in his head as he's sort of designing it. Amy too, to that point, right? I mean, like having to design a multi-layer piece, you really do have to think about how things are going to overlay and how they're going to see, Lev is showing some great examples right now too of like stuff even that works like a pop-out card or stuff that is exactly like multi-layered. I don't think this is quite as cool as Amy's is going to be, but I think it's something kind of in a similar vein. I will note that they're selling this for $45 on Etsy. So, I mean, Amy, no pressure, but your riches await you apparently on Etsy. Also, if anyone from Corel is watching, for the amount of the amount of time that Amy has given like really good, strong tutorials and tips on your software. I would love to see her get a free upgrade. That would be super duper. Just, you know, if anyone from Corel is watching, very much deserved. Can I ask you, so when you're going about doing something that is multi-layered, like the one that you're building now, I mean, are you having to, like, what are the things that you're considering ahead of time to sort of make sure that it's going to work? I mean, do you have enough experience in making multi-layered designs that you kind of already know, or like, are you having to do stuff on the fly to test?
No, well, I did a thumbnail of what it would look like, but we also did something similar at Christmas with the Christmas card, which had like a layer to it. So I've got some experience of doing something similar to what we're doing now with the bookmarker, but this is going to be more flat than the Christmas card. I
will say, as bookmarks go, that's probably for the best, if we're honest, too. That, you know, a pop-up bookmark really doesn't work as well as a flat one, I'm afraid.
But it's so much fun.
It would be cool. I will say, too, I'll notice that I think you use the same, like you created the outline shape and then duplicated it 3 times to ensure that you have the exact same scale and shape on each one, right? Like you can see that you're sort of actively building up the same foundation each time to at least, you know, to make your own life easier kind of as you go forward.
Yeah. Just resize this. And then this is ready to cook. This is ready to go, boys.
Sweet. I'm excited. We're only 40 minutes in. You guys were making record time. It appears the issue was Miguel after all. I love you, Miguel.
No, I do not believe it. Slander.
Me neither. But it's the one time. It's a cheap laugh. I'm afraid I had to.
All right.
He already got me. He's so in our private chat in the back. You know, it's just one another for having technical difficulties or whatever. And I started seeing little notes pop up from someone called Ghost. And I started to get very worried for a little while there, and then thinking it's the Lev interjection to say it was Miguel, because I was starting to worry, like, oh no, what's going on? Thank you, Miguel. Yeah, you also don't want to be like, hey guys, is there a ghost in our private chat? Because then you sound like an insane person. Tim, yours is already in the laser, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. I already opened up Rayjet Manager. I'm already in there. Sent it off. It's now we're playing the waiting game.
Johnny, good one. Got him. We will try. I will try and lure Miguel back. He is an incredibly, no, we know he's not hurt. He's resilient. I've seen him smash something to pieces with a hammer on camera. I will try and get him back at some point, maybe around his birthday or just for some sort of special stream going forward. I think this is the one thing about moving into the sales role that he was sort of bummed about was not being able to do the streams anymore. But I do feel like he's left us in very good hands with Tim. His head is in sales, but his heart is in marketing. Thank you, Lev. Exactly. I was curious, so I can't totally see. It's just a little bit small on my screen, but how long was the actual total processing time for yours, Tim?
Oh, so the total time for mine. So just reference. So my card here. So I already made one beforehand. So this entire dimension is going to be 12 by 8. So the entire engraving here is taking 21 minutes and 40 seconds, and the cut itself is taking 1 minute and 45 seconds.
Okay. I mean, conceivably, too, you could probably fit 2 smaller cards on that one piece if you wanted to as well.
100%. Yeah, there's enough space to fit in another one in there. There's enough space to... I didn't really go over it now, but we could always do more improvements to this card. So in the actual machine, I taped down the bristle board so that when I am done with the outside of the card, I could flip it over, create a new file in Illustrator with text written down here, fill it up with some more words, some nice mom quotes, some, whatever your mom might say to you, fill it up. And just like that, I've already sort of made a jig for this thing as well by taping down all the paper. So I can just flip it over, engrave some more stuff, and then we have a full-fledged card dealed out. I could also add more detail by cutting out something as well. So I've only showed examples of engraving on the paper, but we could also have a nice little neat cutout here as well, little heart, balloon. again, whatever represents your mom the most.
I was just sorry. I was thinking about when you was like quotes that my mom would say, like, "No, don't stop this."
Think twice before you act.
Yeah, exactly. What have I told you about? Yeah, keys in the electrical socket. Genuinely, don't. Yeah, it's a miracle. It's only thanks to her probably that I stand before you today.
Right.
I will say though, you're exactly right, and with what Lev was showing earlier too, because it comes in multiple colors as well. Like you could do, multi-layered designs. You could do all kinds of cool things. It really just depends
100%.
on how far you want to push it.
Exactly.
So I'm curious, like, given unlimited budget, unlimited time, like, what would be if this was like the 1 week challenge? If I told you like you could have a week to design, the card, what would be the go-to like design change for you? Would you swap materials, swap design? What would be
I think the go-to for me would be to add a bit more depth to the card. So one thing that I really, really wanted to try to do was to put masking tape over the elephants, so that when it engraves, it will take away the masking tape, so I could paint them a bit. So the elephants themselves could have some sort of different colored rather than just the actual paper material on the bottom of them. I thought that'd be pretty interesting. I also would love to do a cutout and have that cutout sort of be in front of the actual like different colors. So I would put a heart in red here, but cut out a heart here, so it'd be a red heart, but with the sort of in-depth effect. Have more inlay. We could glue Trolley's lights on top as well. Add more Trotec materials here. So the possibilities realistically are endless. But I would have really loved to add a bunch more depth to this thing.
I really like that idea. My brain immediately goes to I really love the laser paper. I would also maybe consider I don't know why this pops up. I think it was because I recently saw a cool project here in Montreal where somebody used curve cutting, like a curve cut hinge. That makes me think like, try and use different materials to create a card, like to do a 3D card from you can always add Trolleys to everything, like non-brand specific hot sauce. You can do it. So again, with like curve cutting, you can do hinges in all manner of different, in wood and in acrylic and whatever. I don't know. Have you tried any sort of curve cutting stuff, Tim? I'm curious. Just
very little.
Working away, so I want to interrupt them as little as possible.
I've done a few, not too much. I think the most I've gotten out of it is doing like live hinges. I've done those, but besides that, not very much.
At a recent trade show we were doing, I have a go-to trade show file that anyone is welcome to email me and ask for. I feel like it's this cool saw design we have. I don't know if you've seen the saws. That probably knows what I'm talking about. It has like a hinge built right into it, and it's really cool. Like I put somebody's name on it, and they cut out like a hand saw, and then it has like a hinge cut in it, so you can wiggle it around. But inevitably, the first thing everybody does when they get it is immediately like, "Oh, cool, a hinge," and then it snaps in half.
Yeah.
I mean, every time. I always have to sort of like, I always have to warn them in advance, and I think it's partially also the way I designed the hinge is I did it badly, but it is
it's
really
funny.
cool.
It's funny you mentioned that, because the first time I cut out a live hinge, I was playing around with it and I was thinking, whoa, like this is so cool, and then I snapped it.
Inevitably, yeah.
I pushed it to its limits.
Yeah. I've learned that it's just the natural order of things. It's just how it goes.
Yeah.
But if you're seeing something for the first time, I'm not surprised, right? You want to see what it's capable of.
Exactly. Yeah, it's all trial and error.
Exactly. If that sounds interesting too, actually.
We love discovery, guys.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, it's so true.
I have to say too, like, if anybody wants to try a version of this challenge at home or whatever, if you're just inspired by what our designers are doing, I mean, I would ask that you follow them on Instagram. They're all incredibly talented. But yes, okay. So here's a cool example of curve cutting. Thank you, love. So I would ask you, like, if you can. I know it's tough because often people are working with their lasers day in and day out, and trying to find time to just mess around with the laser can be tough. But even if you can set aside like an hour a week, something like that, just to play around with your laser and try new things, you'd be amazed at what it's capable of when you can take off sort of the pressure of having to turn around a project really quickly or within a certain time frame, within a certain budget, that kind of thing. I'd be curious to ask you guys, sort of what you think. But I will say, like in my experience, we do try and save every scrap of material specifically for that. So that if we have like offcuts and stuff, we'll set it aside just for playing around with the laser. Because some of the most learning I've ever done is when I take off that pressure of having something perfect and just futz around and see what I can create, kind of thing. Yeah, I love that foldable hinge book. It's really cool. I will say, I have also in my spare time, I've seen stuff that both Thomas and Amy have created on this exact stream. Like on previous Rayjet challenges, and then try to replicate a version of it in my own time. That is 100% true. I promise you. I photographed all this just because that's a really cool. Okay, sorry, I don't mean to derail myself, but that is a really cool. I'm sorry, Lev. That is a cool tip. So, different colored vellum paper, so you can use low power on the laser to make the fold lines without cutting in. That's kind of similar to what you're talking about, Tim, right? Like using sort of create the score line, just using the cut line, but
exactly. Yeah.
I'm sure that's able to modify the power like on that fold line at all compared to the outline cut that you're doing.
So I did do that for this one. For the card I have in hand right now, I just used a different, much lower power setting, and just blasted right through it, just so I could get a very nice and thin score line. But it wasn't dashed. So I did that, but it did sort of rip out the edges a bit, so I didn't like the finish on it too much. But I may have just done it with not enough power, and it just didn't really cut through it properly. So when I did bend it, it did tear a lot of the actual paper out. So this was just on the fly, though. I am hoping for the score lines to come out a bit better on my end right now, though.
Well, because we have some examples at our showroom in Ontario. I urge you, if you haven't ever been and you're in the Ontario area, definitely come and visit Tim and Mike and Miguel and the whole crew. We have some cool examples where people have created actual boxes, like packaging for their products, using the same lasers they used to create the products, right? Like you could, again, thinking in 3D kind of thing, you can create a box. You were telling me actually, Tim, was it you who was telling me about like a website? Was it the sort of Make a Box website, the Make a Box?
Yeah. I forgot exactly what it's called. I know. Not exactly the name of it, but you simply just put in the dimensions of the box. Makeabox.io or
it's .io. Okay.
Yeah.
This is when you turn into
it's great though. You throw in the dimensions of the box you need, how many sort of like teeth you need to put them all together, and it makes it for you.
That's so sick. Okay. The reason I bring this up also is because not only because it's great, but it sort of falls in that realm of Vectiti, like you were talking about earlier, Tim, where like you'd be amazed at the level of free resources that are available online for you to just
exactly. Yeah. If there's anything I could throw out there as a design student, is that there's always going to be a way for you to not reinvent the wheel. Yes. There are a ton of great resources out there. They're always going to be out there. So instead of spending time trying to create something, it would not hurt to sort of look out on other resources, branch out, and find something new.
Can I add something on that, Tim?
Please.
Oh, 100%.
Because you can always find something that you don't need to reinvent the wheel. That's true.
Exactly. Yeah.
To me, it's a step.
They're just good springboards.
It's a start point where you yourself you can reinvent the wheel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
I agree.
You can bring your own idea on something already built, but for myself, an artistic point of view, is not enough. It's already a job done, but from that, a job needs to be done. Just to put your mark on it, just to put your your personality, on
your
it.
own spin.
Yeah.
I agree.
Exactly.
I think at the same time, though, I will say to Tim's point, I think I agree with the both of you. I think, like you say, trying to find where the balance is, like not having to start from complete scratch, but then making sure, like you said, that you iterate and elaborate. Like we were sort of saying is that's a good point, Johnny. I want to come back to that, but that you can use it as a jumping off point, or even an inspiration point, like we were saying earlier for Vectisi. If you use Vectisi, like Tim was suggesting, to do like an early draft, and then use that as the building blocks for all the different like elaborate ways that he was talking about to sort of like okay, I have like a kind of an idea of what I want to do. Now let's talk about like doing the multi-layered. Let's talk about doing the multicolors. Let's talk about adding in the other cool stuff. Was that template maker, Lev? I think it was, which Doug suggested there in the. So Doug is exactly right too. This is a very, very cool website. I don't know if you checked this out, Tim, but it is. It's a new one for me, and it is really, really cool.
Yeah, I've never seen this before either.
Yeah,
Very
same.
much-
I'm gonna have to write this
Oh,
down.
great.
And very much in the same like I don't know, idea space as the makeup box, right? But like, and again, I have to say though, I do agree with Thomas, like a good space to start with, and then you can sort of build off of what you find here. But like, sorry, before I forget, I keep tripping myself up because I know I will forget. Johnny's exactly right that the makeup box, the lines aren't connected when you originally download the file. So just before you pop it in your laser, and I made this mistake, which is I really wanted to single it out. Make sure that you pop them into Corel, your design software of choice, so that you can sort of put them all together. Let me see here. Thomas. Okay. Is this? Oh, was that 3-axis? Sorry. That was the last one I kind of wanted to pull up. Yes, okay. 3-axis is the last one I wanted to sort of shout out. 3-axis does have a lot of advertising and stuff on it in order to sort of fund the website, which is fine, right?
Mm-hmm.
This website has probably been more inspiring for me than any other sort of laser design website I've ever seen. The amount of free designs on this site from incredibly talented designers that you can get in all sorts of different file extensions, all kinds of different things. I'm just amazed at what people will offer for free on the internet just as a means of either like experimenting with their laser, that sort of thing. Is that a wiener dog bookshelf there on the left? It fully is. Like
That's adorable.
I love that.
Yeah, right. And you could just download it for
Yeah.
free. Like it's incredible. So I think Thomas makes a really good point in that you want to, if you're to download something like this, just to experiment and play around with for sure. Obviously don't download somebody else's design and then resell it, but if you can use it as a means to sort of say like, how do they build that? And then, elaborate on that to create like your own idea. Like, I'm sure that the designer would be thrilled to know that they inspired somebody else to create something. Right?
It's what I did with the lantern. I mean, with this one, the design was made by someone else, but I downloaded the file just to understand how it clicked.
Mm-hmm.
Then I took my candle order with the 45 degrees side, and then I thought, okay, I love the roof style, and how can I integrate that idea in my design just to improve my design based on the creativity of someone else? And this is to me the alchemy of creation. It's not a copy, because it's always a debate about that, but it's not a copy as such. It's just I integrate a part of something made by someone else into something I did myself, and based on that I create something new, and then maybe someone else will start from that and then make something else.
But I think there's that old cliche about like bad artists copy, good artists steal, or whatever it is, right? But there's just no denying that most art is built off principles discovered by, people in the past. See, okay.
Thomas,
There's
that's
a great
amazing.
example. That's gorgeous.
Oh, that looks great.
I was originally a little bit nervous when you told me you were going to put a candle underneath a roof, but now I
Yeah.
completely understand why and how it works.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
But there is a problem, because when you sketch in 2D something in 3D, the perspective of the roof, see here, it's not properly. And on my design, it is on the same line.
Yeah.
Perspective has to be considered. But I'm glad with the result. Also with the small balcony and the plants. It's something,
It's gorgeous, Thomas. It's really nice. So I'm beginning to understand. So can I just ask really quickly about they're not like hinges, but the pieces that you have sort of floating there between the roof to like the roof and from behind. I'm curious with that sort of hinge mechanism there, like how that's held together, because it's like from the outside, it doesn't appear. Well, don't take it apart. It's okay. But just
no. I can. There is no glue on that. So you have your.
That's really impressive about it to me. That's the part that
You get where am I here?
Yeah.
I have just a simple insert there.
Okay.
Midwood. I designed this part, okay?
Uh-huh.
And then to avoid the roof to fall, you have just
Oh, a little square like inlay piece that
another inch, and then you clip it, it stays,
Mhm.
and that's it.
That's so smart, Thomas.
easy. No
I
problem.
like that.
No, go to it, everyone. Yeah. Parts PVA glue with 1 part water. Amy, any word on yours? Has it come out of the laser? Anything? What's on the
Yes,
go?
just finished now. So it's
Awesome.
all laser cut out. Got all 3 different colors, her favorite colors. And 1 second. Here we go. Da 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 da.
That's really nice.
Lovely.
You can add little accessories to it as well.
You didn't make that tassel, did you?
You can make tassels, yes.
This is why I host this program, for the record, because I'd be in huge trouble. So I want to go back to the original one that you made, Tim, to really quickly show off the original card that you made, the blue one. I want to reiterate too that the one you're making there is like a second iteration on this design. Partially, you're saying because you wanted a greater was it the difference in the engraving colors and the
Right, exactly. So the actual color itself, they're going to be the same engraving color. It's just the paper itself is different color. So it'll pop out a bit more. There'll be a bit more contrast. And from what I'm seeing right now, it looks great. Just got a couple minutes left on it. Just running through the last engraving passes. I also wanted to change the actual scoring line that I did on the back too, just because I wasn't too happy with how the score line ended up looking. When I folded it out, all the paper sort of split out. Wasn't too happy about it. Hopefully the score lines on this one will fix that, mitigate all the splitting of the cardboard.
Totally. I think people underestimate too, how much depth and how much you can sort of show just with an engraving in one thing. You don't necessarily need to add multiple colors every time, but just the difference between the bright red paper and then the brown of the sort of natural fibers creates a pretty cool contrast.
It really does. Yeah, I think on red especially, since dark red is personally my favorite color. I think it looks great. Looks really, really nice.
Would you ever consider? Would this also work as a cutout? The vector that you designed, do you think?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, if you can, you may have to create an offset of the path of the elephants, just so that you can create a cut line around it. But 100%, definitely doable.
Gotcha.
You could also create you could also run a cut on it directly on the line and just offset the cut a bit so that the focal point's a bit larger. You just have an outline cut of the elephants too.
Ooh, I like that.
Save that. Awesome.
Let's come back to that in the future.
Yeah.
See, I told you guys, this guy really knows what he's doing. Thank you, Miguel. That's really kind. But you're right. We all got to build gingerbread houses, and then we talk about Miguel has built a gingerbread house. This man is splitting his stripes. I will say, so I'm sorry I cut you off, Tim. I apologize. Love was showing the Instagram profiles there really quickly again, and I want to come back to that. Yes, for the Die Hard Christmas card. Wow, good. What a reference, Johnny. Good pull. I'm going to pull the left screen back up here. Once again, just while Tim's design is finishing up in the laser, I want to show off Amy's Instagram. If you guys weren't here in the very beginning, there's our Instagram. Mischief Pop, again, it's there in her name. Definitely check Amy's stuff out. Not only is she very, very talented, but you can even see some of the cool stuff she's done on the Rayjet Challenge right there on her Instagram. Is that over the garden wall? Am I mistaken? No, those are just gnomes.
Just gnomes.
God, I love gnomes. Who doesn't love a good gnome? I will say I cannot speak highly enough again about Amy. She's been with us doing the Rayjet Challenge for a long time. And I mean, you can see why. I mean, there's just, Amy's the best. It would not be the same without her here. God, are those the Procreate texture brushes? I have to ask you, that texture that you're creating in the illustration, is that the brush on Procreate?
No, it's just a watercolor paper that I've just laid on top of all the other layers, and you change the layer to divide, and it sort of just makes everything look like a water paper's stroke.
That's so cool. Ooh, okay.
Oh, that looks even cooler. I like that.
Beautifully done. Wow. Actually, really,
That really
nice.
pops. That really pops.
Yeah. Oh, it
You were
looks.
exactly right about the red paper.
Yeah, it looks great. I'm so happy I took a pack out of these. Yeah, this looks fantastic. I absolutely love this. Sure, show us the camera out a bit. Gotta fold it. Hopefully get it. Oh, that was a nice bend. I don't know if you saw that. You caught that. That was a nice
perfect.
crisp. That was a nice crisp bend.
So officially confirmed, dash line is way to go.
It's 100%. It worked out so nice, and the edges.
For
Here,
sure.
compare the two edges here. So on the blue, I got a bit of a torn edge, but on the score, I got a nice clean finish. So they look. I think the red one looks considerably better.
But I could see how you could incorporate the blue or like this kind of silvery glitter color as a secondary color, like you were saying.
Oh, yeah, definitely. You could sort of cut it out, have a cutout on the red card, and then put it in. Sort of glue the blue one behind on the inside of the red. Have a nice little heart there. Nice balloon even.
I think that's really cool.
I think it turned out great.
That's beautiful.
Now I got a Mother's Day gift.
Yes, done deal. Please don't forget me. Send me. Thank you, Johnny. Thank you, Doug. Last thing I will say really quickly about Amy, if you guys would like to see a sort of a Procreate workflow stream, I would love to one day try and sweet talk Amy into doing sort of a first step to last step stream with us to sort of show how she takes something from stage one all the way to a finished job with her laser. So if you guys would ever like to see that, I'm throwing it in during the stream as a surprise to Amy, so she can't say no. So please back me up on this. I will say, enchantement also, Thomas, once again, right there in his name, check out both Thomas's Instagram and his web store. Thomas does some incredible stuff and is, do you still consider yourself sort of predominantly a woodworker, Thomas? How do you define what it is that you do? Oh, I think you're muted. Hold on. Let me...
First, I try to have fun, and I try to figure out something that really helped me go further in the design process and to understand how to assemble pieces together. So to me, the lantern like this one or the last one I did was a very big achievement because I was torturing my brain for a couple of weeks around it. And so yeah, for the moment it's just discovering what to do next, and also taking orders from people who wants to offer a gift or something very customized to someone. But for the rest of the time, I manage my family that requests a lot of time, and then yeah, just.
I was gonna say, if you guys haven't seen our laser jam that we did, I guess it's a year or two now already. Gosh,
it was during the first year of COVID, I think. Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, well, we got to talk to him about sort of your process and your history, and that's just. I mean, I highly recommend go back and check it out. In my mind, again, this maybe sounds a bit like hyperbole, but Thomas sort of represents someone who's found like that wonderful mix of things where, I hope you're still just getting to create the things that you love to make as a job. Do you know what I mean? Like, sort of what we all sort of dreamed about doing as kids. Like, I wonder if I could turn, drawing, or I wonder if I could turn like making stuff into a profession. You're kind of one of those very lucky few, I think, who's managed to do it. I think it's really cool. You mentioned also that you do like customized work for.
Definitely found your style, Thomas.
Right? Oh, 100%.
Sorry.
Sorry, I was going to see if I could pull up your Instagram profile or your website. Pardon me. You mentioned too that you do stuff for customers and clients, right? Like you can order directly from you if you have a piece that. I remember last time.
That was a sign for street the facade. That was one of the not the biggest, but one of the most interesting sign I did. I didn't do the design; it was a graphist who did it. But I proposed playing with the English style of sign, perpendicular to the house, and playing around that. So it was for this one a 6 layer of wood, 2 in the center, 1 painted in the middle, and then this one it was a hole for the face, and then the contrast of the name. It was very interesting.
Wow.
And that
That's
was a custom order, yeah.
Do you have a
Cool.
picture of a finished sign by any chance on the on your Instagram?
A what?
Yeah,
Yeah,
picture of the finished- yeah,
That looks great.
gorgeous, man. That's one thing I like too about your work is I think it's again another great example of like what I was talking about with Tim's, where I think if you really experiment within a particular like one particular material, you can see the whole dynamic range that you can create with that, you know, one. And wood obviously is a huge arena, but like you can do a lot. Again, I'll recommend that anybody who hasn't seen it again, go back and watch the Laser Jam with Thomas, because you also get to see some of his hand sketches. And dude is also very talented artist too. So I think that has pretty much cleared an hour. I will maybe wrap things up really quickly. Miguel is putting things in our private chat. The Friday barbecue in our office is ready. So poor Tim has been very strong as he can smell barbecue in the background.
Yep.
I will say a huge thank you again to Thomas and to Amy and to Tim. You guys would not believe how hard it is to do these challenges, particularly on the spot with the camera on you, with me just throwing all kinds of weird questions and stuff at you. So, you know, a huge thank you to the three of you. I hope we can do more of these going forward. If you guys would like to see us challenge Tim, Thomas, Amy, anybody who joins us in the future here, special guests with a different particular theme or a different style, you can check out the description of this video on YouTube. You can check out, I'm trying to think of what the bit.ly link is off the top of my head. I think maybe, hopefully Lev can help me there, but you can submit a request to us, and we are checking those all the time for different ideas. We love to do holiday-themed Rayjet challenges, but it is a lot of fun when we get one from you guys to see if we can throw something a little bit of a curveball at these guys. So, you know, obviously, we really thank you all for watching. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments on YouTube, and we'll do our best to get back to them. Again, Mischief Pop and Untitled Chapter on Instagram, Trotec Canada on Instagram. Check us out. I hope you will join us again next week on Friday for another live stream with Trotec. Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.